part 3 here of setting it up here of my essay, Faded Dreams on Faded Dreams on Division Street. Just got through walking a little bit past a Polish drugstore, and then there's a Baptist church. Its architecture made it look as if it was built by hand with whatever materials were handy. An empty lot. Taco joint with an overwhelming smell of jalapenos that is overwhelmed by the chlorine seeping from the Turkish-Russian bathhouse. Finally, in the big time, a holdover from the last generation and the one before that. No televisions, no air conditionings, no more wars for just a little while. Enough time for the baby boomer generation, and eye blinks at flip images like dated photos from a Polaroid land camera. It's 2011 and those post-war kids are half-century men who scratch their balding heads and wonder why this young hipster crowd feels the need to change everything. It's the Polish Triangle is what it is. And this from a rum-dum propped on a stoop, littered with pennies and matchbooks from Sophie's Busy Bee. Bright yellow, dull copper. No sun to make the colors wink. Milwaukee to Damon, then down Division, right back to Milwaukee. Remember Arby's? Remember Arby's, that big clothing store? 2 stories it was. It's a GD sports bar now is what it is, and you realize there was no bum. Not even a stoop. Just a penny staring at you. Pick it up and toss it back into the street. Maybe it'll fall into the gutter. Just cross the damn street already. Cross over to Hermitage. Phyllis's Musical Inn, 1800 Westford Division, established 1954. The current owner, Clement Jascott, was born on the 2nd floor 2 years after the grand opening. Sit down on a red-top stool and tap the cigarette-scarred bar as though you have caffeine nerves. Man, I wrote that wrong. A Wood Street squad rolls by outside. Clem draws an old style from the stick and tells his tale. He says how, for most of the people in this neighborhood, it's a second home. Dressed in jeans with suspenders and a faded Cubs t-shirt, Jascott moved in on middle-aged, gesticulating alternately with hands and eyebrows as he mops up an errant spill from one of the kegs at the edge of the bar. As he turns, you can see Sandberg's name on the jersey, Ryan Sandberg, another Chicago ghost. Algren would grin that lopsided grin of his. He wasn't Bukowski, he wasn't Burroughs. Hell, he wasn't even Philip K. Dick. He wrote a handful of novels, a couple of dozen short stories, all self-contained within a mile radius. Henry Chinansky made the rounds. He's still alive, unlike Bukowski. Algren died in 1981 and left his ghost in every doorway. Molly O might just be freshening up in the ladies' room here at Phyllis's, where there's a mermaid on the door. Jascott wipes his hands off. The guy grins like he could talk anybody into anything at all. He tells of the clientele, construction workers, painters, the 9-to-5ers from downtown, not the Loop. That phrase is unknown here because nobody on Division Street goes further than Ashland Avenue. And the hipsters show up on the weekends for the bands. Their kind slowly bleeds into the side streets. Few have the confidence of fictional Frankie Machine. Jascott said they worked hard to keep the place. He's talking about mom and dad, keep the place going after the riots. He was a kid back in 1968, but the near north side was a war zone, all the way to Humboldt Park and those FALN bastards. Soon after Martin Luther King's death made the city burn. Everything cooled down then, the world revolving like an empty bar stool after last call. Jascott goes back to work. The crowd builds and fades. Outside, a new glass high-rise royally screws with the horizon, and just next door a man looks down at his waist. He could easily have been checking for a gunshot wound as if to see if his fly was open. Division Street. Irregulars welcome. And that's part 3. We'll hold off there, stopping. And we'll get part 4 in a moment.